Bill.
Jim,
How are you?
how are you?
Fine.
We want to thank everyone listening for Sound Opinions. We're here on the Loop every Sunday from 4 to 6, and we appreciate your turning in.
And as always, we have a pretty cool show.
We're excited.
Coming in, that was the Flaming Lips. We should say what that was. Turn it on. From Transmissions for the Satellite Heart, and they are our guests coming up later in the show.
We're really excited. We're going to have the members of the band in here. We're going to be talking to them, talking about how they write songs, what their influences are, some surprising ones, I think, and they're going to play some songs.
This is a first on Sound Opinions.
I'm pretty excited about it. Are you?
Cool. Yes, I am. I'm psyched.
Okay, well, great. Okay, we're going to get to that in a second. We're also going to do other stuff,
Just like we said. We saw them the other night. They were at Metro. They were in town to do a free show.
Exactly, and it was pretty darn rockin'.
And then Thurston's last night
Boy,
with
did they
Red
have
Red
sound.
Meat.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
We're going to play another tune by them. She Don't Use Jelly. We've been playing it a lot from Transmissions from the Satellite Heart. Their 6th album, 7th record if you count their first EP.
I love this song. I think this is a masterpiece of psychedelic absurdity.
Absolutely.
I mean, it is just amazing. The recording is amazing. The little recording tricks in it, the echoes, the weird guitar sounds, the way that the lyrics are just totally, absurdist and just coming up with ridiculous rhymes for Vaseline and Tangerine and stuff like that.
So I want to ask Sound Opinion listeners to really give this a chance. If you haven't heard it before, listen to it. We're going to talk with the Lips about where they're coming from and try to make this, if you've never heard a band this weird, we're going to try to put them in context because the key word is psychedelia, I think. And it's a tradition that's been around since Revolver and the Beatles and Pink Floyd and its first album. We're going to talk to the Lips. We're going to let them play some of their tunes in the studio. It's the first time we've done this. And we're going to try to trace where they came from. We're going to listen to some of the music that inspired them to pick up the guitars in the first place.
Exactly.
You're listening to Sound Opinions with Jim Derogatis from the Sun-Times and Bill Wyman from The Reader on 97.9 The Loop FM.
Hey, welcome back to Sound Opinions. Thanks for being with us. I'm Bill Wyman from The Reader.
I'm Jim Derogatis from the Sun-Times.
Thanks a lot. We got the Flaming Lips with us here in the studio. So what we should probably do is explain why a band that most people have never heard of are here in the studio. Flaming Lips are stars in a certain section of the rock and roll community. A lot of people on mainstream radio have never heard of them. We wanted to bring them up here for a couple reasons. One, because they're a good group. But another thing is that they have a special Chicago connection right now because Jim here and Greg Cott at the Chicago Tribune both came out with articles near the end of the year saying this was the best record of the year.
We had extraordinarily good taste in doing that, I think.
It's really amazing. I mean, it's a very rare concurrence of your guys' opinion. And I think it's really remarkable. It really testifies to some of the amazing things on this Flaming Lips record. They came to town over the weekend. They did a free thank you show to Chicago at Metro on Friday.
It was packed, yeah.
Totally packed. Another, secret show at Thurston's last night. And we got him here to kind of explain to people what goes on with this band, the Flaming Lips.
I love these secret shows, Bill. They're never that secret, you know what I mean? It's like 300 people in your closet was what Thurston's was like last night.
Really, I bet.
I'll give some history on the Flaming Lips, okay? We have Wayne Coyne as the lead singer.
Hello.
Michael Ivins on bass over there. You guys formed the band in Norman, Oklahoma, right?
Right.
Is that a university
Well,
town?
it's more Oklahoma City.
Okay.
But Norman sort of became where people actually listened to music and liked us.
Is that like Evanston to Chicago or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, a suburb, like, all right.
Well, it's college town.
Okay.
Norman is college town.
Okay.
Where, you buy records and things happen.
Right.
Oklahoma City's where you don't have a job and that's where people live.
Okay,
You
okay.
know
All right.
what happens with that. Yeah.
We can relate to that.
Yeah.
All right. And now this is 1985, first came together.
It was 84. And
Okay.
then we scraped together some money to make an EP.
Mhm.
And that was what
Start of your recorded career. And now we're 6 albums later. You guys had a long 6 albums,
Are we?
yes.
Okay.
A long history on
All right.
Restless Records, independent label.
Mhm.
Guys put out some really good discs. Oh My God, Telepathic Surgery. I foolishly wrote these records off when I first got them. I thought you were the replacements on drugs. I
Yeah,
did.
Okay.
Okay, and then
That's fair.
Then an album called In a Priest-Driven Ambulance came out, which
Okay.
really blew my mind. And then I went back, reassessed the others. And then you got signed to Warner Brothers,
Right.
major label. Now, was this part of the post-Nirvana? Major label was going to sign anything that's weird and
No.
punky?
Nirvana that record, I think, no one had even mentioned it really yet. I mean, Sonic Youth Goo was
Right.
sort of being made while we were signing to Warner Brothers. But our contract with Restless had just fallen apart. I think it was really about the end of, 90 even, 89, 90. They had just signed David Cassidy.
I think it was when Restless was falling apart.
No,
That's
right,
what was going on.
Right.
Restless. Sorry,
Well, Priest-Driven
They
Ambulance
sang-
came out, and then the label
Right,
kind of
and
folded.
they had just signed David Cassidy.
Mhm.
Which I don't know why that didn't take off like they thought it would, but it didn't.
Right.
And everything was going downhill then. Our record was just coming out, and the record company was just folding. And that worked out great for us because then we had no contract with them, and Warner Brothers had already called us, but we were sort of in a bind of like, well, we're sort of stuck with these guys, but there really was no real hype or any sort of movement like that happened sort of after Nirvana, which I don't really know if it's good or bad. What would I know?
Oh, so where did Warner Brothers get the good taste to sign you guys?
Well, some people that work there had, had been following us all along anyway. And it just sort of, sometimes things just sort of catch up. Now people who have jobs used to be the losers that used to buy the records,
Right.
And we're still making records, and they have the record company jobs now.
Yeah,
So
and Bill and I managed to scam a show on the Loop.
Right.
Right, okay. Okay.
Stuff that you'd
It's
never
part of the grand
think of
conspiracy.
5 years ago. Right?
We're taking over America. Reality bites
Right.
indeed. Okay.
And so it seemed normal for us because some of these people we'd been talking to anyway, and it just
Right.
like from one label to another. And I don't think in our minds going to a major label seemed like the big evil thing that people used to think that it was, because we knew these people and they knew. It's sort of like once you know all the crap that we've done and you still want to sign us, well, you get what you get.
And then you made one of the weirdest records of 1992, Hit to Death in the Future Head, a brilliant album. Not quite as brilliant, only slightly less brilliant as Transmission from Sally Hart. Now, my favorite story about this album is I had reviewed this album for a magazine, Request, and then it didn't come out for like 9 months. We had advance cassettes.
Oh,
You
right,
guys had been in the
right.
studio. You were watching Brazil. Tell it, how did this
Well,
work?
we watch
This
a
is-
lot of movies in the studio.
while
and-
you're recording?
Well,
or,
we're in the studio a long time, and we use a TV is always there. But then in this particular recording studio, we had a bed on the back. The mixing desk is here, and there's a bed right behind it, and we literally would sleep and eat. And there was TVs, VCRs, but that's normal. I think a lot of bands end up doing that. They spend a lot of time in the studio, and we're doing that. You have to be joking.
right.
And we
What tune
haven't
is that
really,
again?
You have to be joking.
Okay.
And we haven't really worked the tune up, but we always record, even if we're just working a song up. And I'm playing acoustic guitar, and we have a microphone going to the piano that's run through a big vacuum cleaner tube that goes to the mixing desk or whatever.
This is a literal vacuum cleaner tube for an effect?
Well, the microphone's on one end, the vacuum. Those big tubes, the attachments that you get.
Wait,
And
and this is not in the digital age of 48-track automated recording. This is not standard procedure, though.
And so we're setting this stuff up, and it takes a little bit of time. So everybody that is bored by what we're doing is just watching TV or whatever. And Brazil is on, and there's great parts in that. The soundtrack and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
And we're out there playing the song, and I think people are paying attention a little bit what we're doing, but for the most part, it's like, well, if it's good, we'll keep it. If not, we'll do another take. And we get to that part in the song, and the part, and I don't really even know where it is in the movie. It came up, and it just worked out perfectly.
Wait, you got
The
was
movie
it literally
music.
like bleed from the
No,
movie you were
it-
watching, or you put it on deliberately?
No, the way we work a lot of times is TVs, everything's just plugged into the mixing desk, there's microphones set up in the bathroom, so if people are having a conversation or something, a lot of it's silly, but you never know what's going to happen.
Right.
And we pay a lot of money to be in there, so we do what we want,
Right, right.
And but it ended up just working out perfectly, but we knew that you can't just steal people's stuff, put it on your music, and not being with Warner
Not
Brothers
when you're on
anyway.
Warner Brothers,
I mean,
right,
we
when
did
you're
that
on
on our
Restless.
first EP. We did it with a Pink Floyd record. Who cared, And so we re-recorded it backwards, a couple different ways, spliced different stuff in, and disguised it pretty well from what we thought anyway. And when we were asked, did we do any samples, we were like, no, not really, not straightforward samples that anybody would recognize. And I still think that's true. But the era of paranoia that sort of came around Warner Brothers after the Biz Markie incident. I
Right,
don't
and
know.
he had sampled, what's that tune?
Alone Again, naturally.
Yeah,
by
yeah.
Gilbert Sullivan.
Right, right.
And so anybody who was, that was suspect of doing samples at all was put on the back burner of like, well, you might give us some trouble, so you're in the stack over there that we got to check out. And the stack, I guess, was pretty big. I mean, I don't know. But Michael Kamen
9 months
apparently-
high, I guess.
Right, and Michael Kamen has to okay this whole thing, and that's a goofy scenario there because it's movie people dealing with record company people.
Right.
And to make a long story short, I mean, record company people deal with record company people all the time with samples. You got what I want, and you got something that I want, and it takes a week. Well, with movie people, they got $1 million budgets, and they don't care about our little record.
Yeah.
So it sits on the desk forever until it gets to Michael Kamen. Michael Kamen, I think, actually sent us laser discs of Brazil thinking that this was a demo tape that we made, wanting to use this part out of his soundtrack, and he sent us
Anybody who's heard the album will understand why he thought it was a demo, right?
Right. And I mean, I don't know how it ever got back to him. And it's like, no, that's
the final product.
That's it. That's what's being put out. And I don't think he really wanted any money. I think he's sort of the impression is if we become millionaires, he'll take his cut. But I don't think it ever worked out that he.
Well, the
demanded
underlying
money.
theme here is star-crossed. I mean, Priest-Driven Ambulance is the first time I think you really came together on record. Comes out, record company folds. You get signed to Warner Brothers. This is payday for a band. You work all your lives for something like this. Your album gets put on the shelf for 9 months.
Right.
And then I guess like all the steam was gone. It didn't really go. Warner Bros. Didn't really do much when it finally came out.
Well, I mean, in the meantime, while our record wasn't coming out, Jonathan left to go ahead and do Mercury Rev, and Nathan got really drunk and married. And this sort of, I mean, because we've had years where we've literally played like 2 shows in a year,
Right.
and other years where we've played 120. And that happened to be one of the 2 shows a year sort of years,
Right.
And so in the meantime, there really was no band. By the time the record came out, it was really just me and Michael again, sitting
Right.
around.
Yeah.
And now things have come together again. With Transmissions, you've got a
right.
new band.
And I mean, as soon as that record came out, we got Steven and Ron, and we played. People who saw us on that record thought that these were the guys that made that record.
Right, I
Because
did.
we toured so much on that, And then we pretty much got done touring as much as we could on that record, made this one, and we were just back out again.
Okay, let's talk about this record. Let's talk about the music. One of the fine things I find so charming about the Flaming Lips is the way how it's like this total blender hodgepodge of all this music going back more than 20 years. Everyone talks about all these alternative bands and how modern they are and stuff like that. One of the great things of all this modern stuff is they just take people don't have that same sense of history. I mean, history is just the thing you can plunder and mix up, and that's one of the cool things about this band.
Absolutely, yeah. We were sitting there the other night, and Greg Kot turned around and said, "This band is a history lesson, of 25 years in one song."
But it's a real sick one. It's a real sick and twisted one. So let's talk about something like that. Let's talk about obviously 60s psychedelia.
Well, I mean, I think the thing that sort of separates, we play music all the time, and you guys have to sort of know what new records are coming out. I mean, that's sort of
Right.
what separates what you guys. There's probably 20 records that came out this year that are great that I don't know what they are, because I just listen to records. I don't care if they came out this year or 30 years ago. If they're good, we're going to listen to them. But we don't have no time frame to where it's like you guys are sort of, that's what you do. You have to listen to a record when it comes out. It has to be relevant to what you're talking about. Whereas, I mean, like the record that I think I was listening to when we were doing some Transmission was Dusty Springfield's Greatest Hits or something, It's not, it doesn't have anything to do with what's going on today, but the records that we like, so it doesn't really matter. I mean, And I think it gets stuff like that. It's just stuff that you like. You end up, that's what you want to do. You want to
Right.
do stuff that you like. And I
Right.
think it just all sort of creeps in from all angles,
Okay.
I definitely think there's things when you hear them, I mean, we run in that all the time. It's like subconsciously you'll play something and it's somebody else's thing or something. It's like, oh,
Mhm.
I knew I liked that for some reason.
Yeah.
That's funny you mentioned Dusty Springfield, because another thing that I would say that's definitely in the mix, just sensibility-wise, is the whole pop song construct. Because the songs that we play a lot on the air, that She Don't Use Jelly, Turn It On, for example, they have such this irresistible classic 60s, 70s pop single feel that really, that's what makes it so much fun, because you can do a lot of things the Flame Lips do and be boring or pretentious or something like this. But because you guys have that pop sensibility, it totally makes it's like, the sugar that makes the medicine go down.
Well, you're you're
makes
full of
medicine go down.
cliches today. What is with you?
I'm always full
But
of
like a wet
cliches.
overcoat and like, oh. All right, listen, why don't we let these guys play something? Ronald Jones is now on guitar, and Steven Draws is on drums, but he's playing guitar today too. And Steven, you play a lot of weird stuff besides drums for these guys, right?
Just
He should-
guitar and piano and stuff.
Yeah.
Standard,
Okay.
Standard rock format instrument.
Okay. Well, we're gonna let you guys play something, and I want to talk some more about this psychedelic
Is there
thing.
anything to drink?
And you can have my iced tea
Is
there.
it yours?
No, it's mine. It's yours.
Can I have a drink?
Help yourself.
All right.
You came all the way from Oklahoma, so at least I can give you a Snapple. And then we'll let you guys play something.
Reverb on your voice?
Oh, I don't care. Do you have anything in particular you want us to play? Because we were thinking about helping out a local drag city. Drag cities from Chicago, aren't they?
Yeah, local
label is,
Drag
yeah.
City label, yeah.
What? What? You want to do Smog?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, here's a song that we like by a guy by the name of Bill Callahan. He's in a band called Smog.
He started out as a Replacements fanzine editor. That was his claim to fame. You ever read his fanzine?
Yeah, I never
Yeah,
have.
there's
I
a-
actually just found out about him with this Julius Caesar record.
Yep.
But we always like you guys. There's songs that I don't think anybody would hear unless some people told them about it, and this is one of them. Well, you're a wild horse on a collision course with the sun. Well, you're a wild horse on a collision course with the sun. I wanted to ride that wild horse into the sun. Well, I wanted to ride that wild horse into the sun. But I no longer think that I'm the chosen one. No, I no longer think that I'm your chosen one. Whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe it's best for you to ride into the sun. Maybe it's best for you to ride into the sun. Because I no longer think that I'm your chosen one. No, I no longer think that I'm your chosen one. Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Did you guys just work that up?
Oh, we like the song and we listen to it all the time in the.
So again, Smog on Drag City. That's in Chicago. Interesting record.
Let's remind everyone, this is Sound Opinions on the Loop. I'm Bill Wyman. This is Jim Derogatis. We have the Flaming Lips in the studio with us.
591 Rock, 591 Roll if you want to call and ask the Lips a question.
About anything. You
The
guys,
Lips will answer.
you guys have you guys can answer questions about any subject, right?
Sure. Yeah, we've been around. Hey.
Cool. All right, now I want to talk about this psychedelic tradition. This is something that Bill's listening to me harp about all the time. Soon he's going to kick me right in the ass.
I wanted to see you guys fight.
We will. You want to stick around for
Okay.
Meatloaf? I'd like you to stick around because I'm going to need some help because he's making me listen to that damn Meatloaf record again.
I see. So he likes it?
No, that's not so much that. We just
He's
thought we
got
should
something pompous and intellectual to say about it. That's what it
Okay,
is. I'm
okay.
Oh,
sure.
good heavens, that would just be terrible.
And he's going to use words
What
that
a,
you
what a
don't understand.
refreshing change from the usual Sound Opinions fare.
Okay.
All right, okay. Now, I got a great quote from you. You know, every once in a while, when you're interviewing rock stars, I mean, generally speaking, I think rock stars have nothing to say. I hate interviewing most musicians. But we were
Rock
talking about,
stars.
well, yeah, rock star. Oh my God, I can't believe I said that. I'm slipping. Well, it's the Hancock Tower. You
Jim
know,
was
it's
talking about himself.
the loop, environment here. I look at those posters of Bruce Springsteen. Okay, but psychedelic rock, I think, has been generally overlooked. With punk rock, when it all exploded in the 70s, critics said, okay, La Bamba by Richie Valens led to Louie Louie by the Kingsmen, and that led to No Fun by the Stooges, and that led to Blitzkrieg Bop by the Ramones. There you have this whole tradition of aggressive three-chord rock. And I think in psychedelia is another tradition in rock and roll that you can trace Pink Floyd to Brian Eno and Roxy Music, stuff that he did, up to the present with bands like yourselves. I think you're part of this line of trying to create music that creates a picture in your mind in the studio. And when I said,
Right.
well, how do you define psychedelia? And you said to me, it's like Christmas music. I thought this was a great quote.
Right. Well, it's like Christmas music in a way that when people do it, there seems to be some visual element that they're trying to relate. Like when you hear Christmas music, there's sleigh bells going and whooshing of sleds,
Horses' hooves.
horses'
right.
hooves, and carolers out. And because everybody knows what it is that they're hearing, they get these pictures. I guess when the people are making the records, that they know what it is that you're seeing when you hear it. And it seems like a lot of, I don't like to call it psychedelic, I like to call it more drug music. Drug music
music.
seems to be more,
Yeah.
it's oriented to not just the way it sounds, but the way it feels and the way it looks and smells. It's a lot of senses of what it does to you.
Okay.
I mean, musically, it's not so much a note. It's like it could be a train whistle becomes music, or a truck passing by.
Well, Brian
sounds.
Wilson brought his dogs into the studio on
Right.
Pet Sounds,
Right.
Okay, well, now I want to, what we do on Sound Opinions, Bill and I play records and we fight about them, or we try to give some insight into them, which is actually harder to do than fighting about them. I want to play some Pink Floyd, but we have a question that actually relates to Pink Floyd. Why don't we take that first? On line one, we have Dave. Hey, Dave?
Yeah.
Thanks for calling. What's your question?
Well, first of all, I want to mention that was a great show last night, and interesting cover of the Breeders song. And I was just curious as to what Syd Barrett song that was you covered.
Did you guys do a Barrett song last night?
Oh, well, we didn't do the whole thing. We did the back end of Opel.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Which is one of those rarities that came
Yeah.
out on the...
I'm trying.
Right,
that one,
right.
yeah.
Hey, let's talk about what you get from Pink Floyd. Let's hear a little bit of Lucifer Sam. This is from the first Pink Floyd album. You got to put it in context. 1967, Sgt. Pepper's, and then this band Pink Floyd is inspired by the Beatles, and they make this really twisted record. Let's hear a little bit of this and see if it relates to the Lips.
We've heard the Pink Floyd song. Heard that? Is that what you mean?
Heard that
Yeah,
Floyd tune. I know
yeah.
you're passing familiarity, let's say.
Yeah, sure.
In fact, Take Up Thy Stethoscope and Walk starts with that drum fill, which is exactly the same as the second song on your album, right? Which Steve, I'm
Right.
stealing that from Steven.
Right.
Secret to being a good rock critic: steal ideas wherever you can.
But it's also Robert Palmer.
No, it ain't Robert Palmer.
It's Robert Palmer. Actually, could you play it, and then we could could discuss whether
the
it really
beginning of number 6, Jim.
is it Pink Floyd or is it Robert Palmer? Can you play the?
Beginning of the second song on the Lips record.
Oh, let's see.
Can we do that, Jim?
Can you do that, Jim?
Track 2.
We're challenging Jimmy. Jimmy today,
There it is.
Jimmy Mack, our intrepid engineer. He's got bands in the studio. He's got Bill and I not knowing what we're doing.
Yeah.
Second
Two.
track?
Yep.
There it is. There's little Nick Mason.
But I mean, when you did it, were you thinking it was Pink Floyd, or you just did it?
I intentionally did that.
What are you goofy? I have a question. You know when She Don't Use Jelly, where you have the echoed vocals, the echoed voices at the beginning, like in the third verse or something like that. I always thought that was a total rip of that line in Whole Lotta Love, where he goes way down inside woman. You got that weird blathered echo.
No.
I thought that was deliberate.
No.
Bill's
Okay.
always wrong. Tell him he's wrong. Tell him
Yeah,
he's
I was wrong.
All right, we got to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to
Okay.
try to see some more roots of the Lips
Sure.
on Sound Opinions.
It's Sound Opinions. Opinions, an in-depth look and listen at the world of music. Sound Opinions with Jim Derogatis from the Sun-Times and Bill Wyman from the Reader on 97.9 The Loop FM.
Hi, this is Jim Derogatis. Welcome back. Sound Opinions, Sunday afternoon, 591 Rock, 591 Roll. Call up and talk to me, to Bill, to the Lips.
We got the Flaming Lips here in the studio. They're answering questions, talking about their influences, and singing some songs.
Absolutely. Now, we're talking about Pink Floyd in there. I want to talk about the way you guys approach guitar, because it's very unconventional. There's a trend of thought in rock criticism that everything that can be done with two guitars, bass, and drums has been done. I think that's completely wrong. I think bands like yourselves, like My Bloody Valentine, it's an English group you share a label with, I think are treating rock guitar very, very differently. And I think it's partly inspired by this guy, Brian Eno. We want to hear a little bit of Roxy music here. He was the synthesizer player who, colored the music. Let's hear a little of that, Jim. Okay, now people have heard that. That, of course, is one of Eno's synthesizer solos in Editions of You from the first Roxy Music album. Eno, Alan Ravenstein in Pere Ubu. These are guys who didn't really play leads or melody lines. They just colored the music. They were all over the place and weird harmonics. And I think Ronald, your guitarist here, is doing that throughout the Lips music. You don't play any leads, right? I mean, you're just doing weird noises, basically.
Sounds, and...
No, noise is the wrong word, because that makes it sound like it isn't wonderful, and it is.
Oh, yeah. No, I think what it ends up being is people think of, I mean, that's sort of where the sort of punk rock part of it comes in. It's like, it's not the amount of notes that a man can physically play in 2.5 seconds. It's sort of just, what is it? Why is it? Why do you like it? Is it the sounds? Is it the speed of it that makes all that sort of bogus heavy metal guitar playing? It's like a sport almost now. I mean, guitar playing has become, how many notes can you play?
Right. It's all this Joe Satriani
stuff.
stuff.
It's the Olympics.
You got to watch that, though, because Jim is a real, he's a thrash Satriani kind of guy. He'll make you sound like you're playing in a toilet. So we'll move over that. But it mostly, I think, we sort of started out with the idea that we couldn't really play that well, so we would just play what we could, Mm-hmm.
And now it's sort of evolved into that. It's kind of a style on its own to not sound like a guitar is what we try to do sometimes.
Now, Ronald, you play this one thing that looks like I said it was an electric razor in one review. It looks like you're holding this white plastic thing over your. What is that, and what are you doing? I mean, you've got more stuff on stage than most bands own. Effects and pedals, and you have a couple of amplifiers rigged together, and then you play with this white electric razor thing. What is going on?
Well, I think
it's a secret.
I mean, you look at those old, see an old Genesis from Live 73. It's they've got tons of stuff up there. Got tons of stuff up there.
That's true, and they all played sitting down with all the pedals and the 12 strings and.
What's it?
So you're telling us here is a big Mike Rutherford influence happening here? Is that what you're confessing?
But it's really
I didn't
amazing.
have Lamb Lies Down on Broadway queued. I'm sorry.
To see the Lips when the Lips are playing, and the band is doing what they're doing, and Ronald's over on one side just doing amazing things, just all this weird. It's just such an amazing addition to that just goes like a train through the rest of these songs, and it gives it that weird fractured, mixed up feel.
Yeah. That's exactly how you were thinking when you were playing Friday night, right?
Yeah.
Right. We'll let you off the hook. All right. Okay. You guys are gonna play something else, right? We're not gonna let you out of here without doing "She Don't Use Jelly" because this, we gotta hammer that home. But you can play something else too.
First of all, it's practically the Sound Opinions theme song, and secondly, our producer is named Jelly, as you know.
That's
so we can't get away without playing it.
Who's named Jelly?
Our producer on the phones out there. Hey, Jelly, say hello.
Hello.
That's Jelly. She's named Jelly.
Is that her real name?
And we don't use Jelly.
It is.
We know her real name, but she really gets mad at us if we tell it. So.
Okay.
Got the slide there, buddy?
So this would be kind of a loosely, sort of done-up version of a. Yeah. All this dead air there.
We'll approximate it. It's all right.
Let's just remind.
It's avant-garde radio,
Sure.
591 Rock, 591 Roll. If anybody wants to call us.
Ready? All right, sure.
1, 2, 3.
And I know a girl who thinks a ghost. She'll make you breakfast, she'll make you toast, but she don't use butter, and she don't use cheese, she don't use jelly or any of these. She uses Vaseline. And I know a guy who goes to shows when he's at home and he blows his nose. He don't use tissues or a sleeve. He don't use napkins or any of these. He uses magazines. And I know a girl who reminds me of Cher. She's always changing the color of her hair. She don't use nothing that you buy at the store. She likes her hair to be real long. She uses tangerines.
Talk about mixture styles. Okay, I think what that was the Flying Burrito Brothers doing 1910 Fruit Gun Company song produced by Brian Eno.
Absolutely, we got to talk about these lyrics. Now, that first verse is amazing. I know a girl who goes to shows. She'll make you breakfast. She'll make you toast.
I know a girl who thinks of ghosts.
Right.
Right.
Messing up. I know a girl thinks of ghosts. She'll make you breakfast. She'll make you toast. But she don't use butter and she don't use cheese. She don't use jelly or any of these. She uses Vaseline. Now, what's the inspiration for something like that? I mean, obviously, we played Syd Barrett. There's kind of this whimsical, fanciful rhyming thing happening.
Well, I mean, a lot of the first couple records we made, I never really listened to Syd Barrett all that much until people said stuff about him, and I listened to him. I don't listen to him all that much. I mean, I like him, but he doesn't really have all that many records anyway.
Right. Right.
But
we're talking about Pink Floyd's founder, and he
right.
took too much acid, fried himself, and then locked himself in his room, and he's still there.
And so a lot of people sort of think we're that sort of same way, that we do a lot of drugs, and that's why we're so weird or whatever.
You just haven't got fried yet.
Right.
Okay.
But see, I mean, the song really just sort of came to me. But the song really, it's not all that strange. I mean, the only thing that makes it strange is sort of the punchline. Everything is really pretty normal, mundane sort of stuff, until you hit the one line where she doesn't use any of this stuff, and then you're sort of wondering, well, what the hell does she use? What is it?
Right.
And if I was just going to tell you a story of someone putting Vaseline on toast, you think, that's not that big of a deal, it's not it. But when in the song, it just sort of makes it makes a good punchline. It flows good.
Yeah.
And it makes it funny. It makes it seem like a story.
And I don't think it's as weird. I don't think it's as weird as. There's precedence for this. I want to hear something that I think is also a big influence on you guys, and similar lyrics. I think in a way, in one sense. Only you guys rhyme better.
The city
Okay, so that's obviously "I Am the Walrus" by the Beatles.
Right,
So it's
I've
kind
heard
of
that,
interesting.
yeah.
But see, I think what you guys are doing a little different because they're being kind of self-consciously arty and random stuff. And I thought what you guys are poking fun at the whole notion of pop songs and like Moon, Spoon, June. And you're saying, okay, fine, I got to make a rhyme here. Fine, I'm going to stick Vaseline and Tangerine.
I mean, I don't think we fall into the area of like a sarcasm sort of thing. I mean, that's always sort of bugged me about, like, even like Frank Zappa. I mean, I think, what he did was cool. I just really never listened to it all that much because it's a sarcasm sort of thing. And we're really, if our stuff seems to be doing that, I mean, we really don't do that. We really don't grab influences, even like the Pink Floyd stuff, and think, oh, this is cool. I mean, sometimes we do stuff, and then it tends to sound like people like you guys have heard every record ever made, or can pick out things that, I hear this.
Well, no,
from
we're not.
that,
I think what we're trying to do is show it as part of a tradition.
Right,
I
right.
think,
but I don't think we don't consciously make an effort to be like, oh, we love this so much that we'll use this in there. I mean, I think things will creep into our songs, but no, I mean, I would never really I would never waste time of a song to make fun of
Sure.
People will do that anyway. I think it's much better just to go ahead and not talk about what you don't like and just do what you do like.
Right.
You know? And,
all right, well, we got to take a break.
Okay.
We got a bunch of phone calls. People want to ask you questions. Hang on, and we're going to get to you on the line at Sound Opinions.
1, 2, 3, 4, critics wanna have some more. Baby, please, you go away.
Sound Opinions, The Loop's weekly music review program, with Jim Derogatis from the Sun-Times and Bill Wyman from the Reader. Sound Opinions on WLUP Chicago, 97.9, The Loop FM.
Hey, welcome back to Sound Opinions on the Loop every Sunday from 4 to 6. Thanks for listening. I'm Bill Wyman. Jim Derogatis is right here. We've got the Flaming Lips in the studio talking, answering your questions, and playing songs. What should we do? Go to the phones?
We have a lot of questions. Let's just go right to the
Let's
phones.
go to the phones. Hey, hi, Corey.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for calling. What's up?
Oh, nothing much.
You got a question for the... Okay, next question. You got a question for the Flaming Lips?
Yeah. I saw on this thing about the first 7-inch ever by the Flaming Lips.
Oh, so is that true? Are you asking, is that true? You guys got a 7-inch out?
What was
It was the BJ 7-inch.
the... Oh, no, that's out of print. I think we only did like 500 copies of that, and it's way out of print.
Okay,
it's way
for the record, what was the name of it?
I don't know.
What's the song?
I don't think we're allowed to say it on the air.
Okay.
Okay, all right. All right. You know what my favorite Flaming Lips title was? That EP you put out right after Ice-T gets dumped from Warner Brothers, okay? Because of Cop Killer. You guys put out an EP called Wasting Pigs is Still Radical.
Right.
That's amazing you guys have a contract. It's just but let's go to line two.
Hey.
Line 2, hey, Pete?
That's what we keep saying.
Hello?
Hey, are you with us? What's your question?
Oh, first off, I just want to say I enjoyed the show.
All right, thanks.
Not that familiar with the lip stuff, but I have been lately from listening to your show the last few weeks. I was just wondering if an influence of theirs was the Roy Wood and The Move, because I hear a lot of that in there. That's from the same period of the 67, 68 kind of underground thing with Pink Floyd.
Contemporaries of Pink Floyd, right? Right.
The Move. Didn't Spiritualize do a Move song? I mean, I don't really know that much about the Move. The Move that I like was that what was it like? It was like a Black Panthers sort of group in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
Who got their house bombed by the Philadelphia.
And the bad thing about the Move is they kind of became ELO, I think, which is an unforgivable
I don't.
fact.
Yeah, I'm not all that familiar with them, but
well, there you got it.
I do like the name.
Thank you, Pete.
Hey, Pete, thanks for calling. Okay, Nick, how you doing? Thanks for calling.
Hi, I just wanted to ask a question. The last 2 times you were supposed to open up for a couple bands, you canceled, and I was wondering what the reasons were. I think they were Soup Dragons and Throwing Muses.
Oh, okay. All right, well, I'll take them in the order that they happened in.
All right.
The Soup Dragons, that was a weird tour because no one actually told us we were supposed to play. I guess we weren't home on that day or something, and we got word that we were supposed to play a tour with the Soup Dragons, and it was advertised all over the place, and we were just sitting at home, and that's what happened with that. And the Throwing Muses, we had played a show the night before in New York at the CMJ. We played with Mudhoney and a couple of other bands there, and we had to leave there by about 2:30 to get to Chicago the next day
You're gonna drive
it was
straight
an
from
early
New
show.
York.
Wasn't it an early show?
We're supposed to play at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, because Jesus Lizard played.
Yeah.
So we're doing the early show, so you got to be there earlier than usual, and we had to leave by about 2:30, drive straight here, and sound check, and we'd be fine. Well, we stayed a little longer than we should have, got a little drunker than we should have, or whatever, but we were fine, and we got stopped by the Ohio Highway Patrol, and they knew they had the biggest drug bust of the century. They brought out dogs and 4 or 5 cars, and we were stopped on the side of the road for probably 2 hours.
That's really scary. They wanted to bust you guys.
Right, and the dogs were in the van and everything, and
Of course, we had nothing.
we had nothing.
Yeah.
But it took a couple hours out that we didn't have on that day.
Wow.
And so when we showed up, the Throwing Muses were just about to start their set, and
And you were out of a gig. Yeah.
right.
All right.
There you go.
Thanks, Nick. Ken, you got a question for Lips?
Yes, hi. First of all, Jim and Bill, I love the show. And,
You do not.
For the Flaming Lips, I was just wondering, I missed the 2 shows the last couple of days, but I caught you a couple of times in the last 2 tours. I was just wondering by chance if you guys are going to be coming back in the Chicago area or around the Midwest in the near future.
Well, I mean, the way we've seen it, we've played Chicago quite a bit, you know.
Yeah. We've been pretty lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, you were here with the Butthole Surfers, right?
We were
And
here.
then you were here with Porno for
Porno
Pyros.
for Pyros 2 shows, and then the Surfers, and then we did a show in December with Seam at the Metro, and then we just
Another
played the other
Chicago
night.
man.
And I don't even know what else is around here, but I mean we've been up here a lot this year, and I guess we're really just sort of lucky that we can still come up here and play and have people come to see us. It's sort of, you know, I don't know if we'll be back anytime real soon after
Right.
this. I don't really know.
All right,
What
thank
about
you.
But
recording?
Ken,
Are you,
we'll let you know, Ken.
Thanks a lot, you
We'll
guys are
fill you
great.
in. Are you guys going to be recording again soon? A
I
follow-up?
don't think so. Not anytime soon. Probably after the summer, maybe. We'll just see what's happening. Got no real plans to sort of.
Okay. All right. Jake, you got a question for Lips?
Yeah. First of all, I wanted to say that Brian Eno is credited as doing enosification on
Lamb Lies Down on Broadway.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah.
That was an
One of
interesting
Genesis's rare examples of good taste.
Yeah. And also, they used to do Eddie Cochran covers and Fred Neil and stuff like that, which goes way back beyond the psychedelic stuff. I figured, you know, I'm curious about what the influences are as far
Right,
as
that we used to
early
do Eddie
60s,
Cochran covers.
Rock.
Hey, Jake, you saying that the Lips used to do Eddie Cochran covers?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we just kind of go from all over the place. I mean, we just simply play music that we like and that we're able to play. I mean, you know, like when we started, I mean, not that I'm really any better now. I mean, I sort of picked up guitar and practiced to the point where I could play some chords, you know, and we sort of play what we play, and we sort of play what we like. And I think when you struggle enough because you're not good enough to play, that you sort of sometimes, and I think it's rare, but sometimes you stumble upon stuff that's original just because it's not made the same way everything else is. And I think in some ways that we've managed to do here and there, that we've stumbled across something that just because of lack of technique and having to think of other ways of doing things, that we've come up with a sound. But we really, if you were to look at our record collections, the stuff that we listen to, it wouldn't make any sense. I mean, we've always said we've gone from the Bee Gees to the Butthole Surfers. It's
Right.
And most people will just look at you and be like, I mean, those camps don't ever get along, ever.
Right.
And they never will, really. We like music. We like good music. And, I mean, that's the way we look at it, like it should be. It should just be, there's good music and there's crap, you know, and
Yeah.
we like the good stuff, you know.
All right. That's what Bill and I say.
But, you know, and Eddie Cochran would fall into that, just like Pink Floyd, just like PIL, just like,
Right.
you know, all that stuff, you know.
That's true. That's the whole philosophy of Sound Opinions.
All right. Well, we
Okay.
got one more question, and then we're going to take you guys out of here with a song. Marty, you got a question for Lips?
Yeah. Hi, Jim. Hi, Bill.
Hi.
I just wanted to say that my ears are still ringing from the show on Friday night. It was great.
We haven't mentioned that the Lips are the loudest band in the history of
They
amplification.
are insane. I mean, after every song, the audience kept yelling louder, louder. But I was wondering what you guys' views on music videos are, and if and when you guys plan on making any videos off of the new CD.
Well, I mean, we make videos all the time. They just never play them. I mean, so no one ever sees
Is
it.
that true? So does MTV even play you on Alternative Nation or 120 Minutes?
Actually, I got a letter today. The last video I made, I sent it straight to MTV. I mean, that's how we do it. We make them ourselves and we send them to MTV ourselves. But I got a letter back, and I have to sign some form before they'll consider playing it, you know. And I think a lot of it is like, if you sell 5 million records, they play your video because obviously kids request it. I think if there was, you know, if there were kids calling up every 10 minutes requesting our videos, I'm sure MTV would gladly play them. I just think when you fall into the obscure category, it doesn't really matter. I mean, they
Well, there you go, kids. Call MTV.
Wait, I got a question. What the heck is Warner Brothers for?
Exactly.
That is true.
I just
Well,
noticed
you know,
a
I mean,
video
we've
camera
never set
there.
ourselves up to be part of the big corporate thing. I mean, we never walked up to Warner Bros. And said, make us popular. I mean, we sort of walked up like, you give us money, we make records, leave us alone, you know?
Yeah, but you guys make good records, and a lot of people aren't hearing them. And I mean, partly that's because of Warner Bros. You know, Geffen puts a lot of money behind bands like Urge Overkill. Everybody in the world has heard Urge Overkill. Maybe people haven't bought the record,
Right.
but that's, you know, the Urge Overkill's got a chance at stardom. The video is all over MTV.
Right.
And Warner Bros. Really hasn't done too much for you.
Well, you know, that's sort of the area where we're just, you know, I don't know what to say. You know what I mean? I mean, I don't want to get shot in the back.
That's what Bill and I are for. We can point that out, and we'll send this to.
One other question to ask
No.
you. I was going to ask where I can get some of the other CDs off of Restless. I haven't been seeing them at any of the local record stores. Are they
Right.
specialty
Well,
stores?
Restless. I mean, they have their own problems. Yeah. That David Cassidy record really really did do
We're
a
still
lot.
hurting from that, huh, Wayne?
Really destroyed.
You know, we have Danny Bonaducci on the station here. Maybe you guys can
You
give
talk
him a
about
call, and he
personally.
can.
Yeah.
Call
But no, I
Cassidy.
think that stuff sort of regularly goes in and out of print whenever they get around to it. I don't know what to say to that either.
I tell you, Marty, I actually just found the discs at Tower Records. I think they're in print again now,
Oh,
because
really?
otherwise Tower wouldn't have had them. But,
Right, okay.
But we got to wrap this up. We want to take you guys out with one more tune. Do you know what you want to play?
Do we know what we want to play? Do we have any idea? How long do we have?
Oh, just well, actually, a couple minutes. Then we got to get to Meatloaf. You want to stay around and argue about Meatloaf with us? We'd be happy to have you, Wayne.
Well, how about we'll... I'm just kidding. Okay. You know, we weren't really all that prepared to play very much. How about Shine a Sweet Jesus?
Waiting for my ride, Jesus is floating outside. Watching the water rise, I'm getting lost in the tide. Oh, while I'm still myself, your blankets covered me. They covered me while I was still asleep. Watching the planet shine, reflecting yourselves in the sky. Scraping these smiles of mine, impossible one at a time. While I'm still myself, your blankets covered me. They covered me while I was still asleep. wondering what he will find. Watching the water rise, I'm getting lost in the tide. Oh, while I'm still myself, your blankets covered me. They covered me while I was still asleep.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Flaming Lips.
Thanks, everybody.
That was really great.
We'll be right back
Wayne,
on Sound Opinions.
Steve, Michael, Ronald, thanks a lot for being here. We'll be right back.